So we all saw this, right? LeBron James went over to have a chat with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith.
And I thought long and hard about this over the last few hours because I had no intentions, Molly, of talking about this at all. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. Had he wanted to see me, I would have flown out and I would have seen him and I would have had a conversation man to man. But that is not what he elected to do. But if we had had that conversation, I would have said to LeBron James, I never would speak negatively about your son. I was talking about you. And so we had to talk about it. And when I said the things that I said, I wasn't talking about Bronny James because my attitude is he's a rookie. It's going to take some time for him to get himself together. He'll be just fine, especially with J.J. Redick and the staff coaching him. I was talking about the position that he was put in by his dad.
He went on his show where he serves as executive producer, ESPN's First Take, and he addressed it for over 9 minutes. Well, here's what happened next.
So it wasn't about Bronny. It was about him. Those are his words. Once he said, as a father, that was about him. Which was my point January 29th. It's been about you. It was never about Bronny. I wouldn't do that to a kid. It was about his dad. And it wasn't about his dad even wanting him in the NBA. It's the things he said and the things he maneuvered and manipulated in order to get his son to wear the same uniform as him, which brought that attention.
Stephen A. went on his own independent show and recapped what went down, which, let's be clear, he is well within his right. He also owns this show, whatever. What became rather nauseating.
So my point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. That's all he had to say to me. Mm-hmm. Then as we speak, he says that. Let's take an example. He said what you just said. Yeah. I stand down. My bad. And not only that, I'm going to make sure I go on the air. I ain't look at it that way. That's on me. You didn't do that. You said you with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. I was talking about you. Wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Whew. I believe that he got potential. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential to go pro. I truly believe that. It's going to be tough, but I think he could pull it off. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I was talking about you. You did this. Mm-hmm. You the one that had us as reporters, as a league, as an NBA franchise. All of us got to sit back and be quiet and capitulate to young.
Come on now.
You did that.
He went on Gil's Arena and talked about it.
What was up with LeBron? He was getting in your grill. What was that?
He thought that I was insulting his son when in fact that is not what I was doing.
Grow up.
I was getting on him because he had gone through so many things to make, have his son in the NBA, and he was bringing unnecessary attention on his son prematurely. In my estimation, he didn't like that. So he confronted me. It's his prerogative. He didn't put his hands on me. That's all that matters. He can feel whatever way he wants to feel. I'm going to do my job. I cover sports. That's what I'm going to do.
I would have had your back if I was there. I'm just saying.
I had plenty of people to have my back. It wasn't necessary, but I appreciate it.
He went on, as he calls him, his friend, Sean Hannity's show. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you. This was a theme. The point he missed.
I just think he is so wrong on this, and I think the conversation surrounding this is so incorrect on the facts. LeBron James did not check Stephen A. about Stephen A. criticizing Bronny James, the basketball player. LeBron James checked Stephen A about Stephen A criticizing LeBron James, the father. And that's totally in bounds. And this idea that LeBron did it in the wrong way, when here is the timeline of events. Stephen A, after Bronny, earned minutes by how he's been playing in the G League, got minutes in a Sixers game, and played terribly. Stephen A went on TV and said, "I'm begging you as a father, LeBron James, put an end to this." LeBron's agent then called Stephen A and told him, "Hey man, that was out of line." And I wasn't a party to that conversation, but I think added the context of, you got to recognize there is multiple real levels of sensitivity when you're questioning LeBron James as a father, given his lack of a relationship with his own father and all of that. Stephen A then took that call, went on his pod, and made fun of him while playing behind him highlights of Bronny struggling against the Sixers. Stephen A also has been on the record for years. "I'm at the games. Anyone can come talk to me if they have a problem with what I say." So LeBron, first opportunity he got, talked to him, said it, and then went on and played. The next day, Stephen A was very kind of reserved, and now has done a media tour about it.
Nick Wright is spot on here.
This one really, it irritates me the way it's been covered, and it irritates me that there is now, I think, a disingenuous retelling of how this went down.
Maybe the best take along with Nick Wright's.
So Stephen A he's all fired up, talking about LeBron the father, and what he did to his son to get him on the Lakers. It's not like LeBron sent his son to Afghanistan. His son is on the Lakers, acting like he's the 55th player drafted. He's a bench player. He goes back and forth to the G League. And, oh, by the way, how many guys have been embarrassed by Tyrese Maxey in an NBA game? Quite a few. It felt like it was over and above what needed to be said. We all understand. Bronny's not going to be in the league when LeBron retires. He's just not good enough to play. He can be a G League guy. Should have stayed another year at USC, but his dad is probably saying, "I don't know how much longer I'm going to play. I want to play with you." This has been his goal. He was able to pull strings, and he was able to make this happen. When you start talking about somebody's parenting, that's where it felt like it was, if I'm LeBron, that's a trigger point where you're like, okay, now you're questioning me as a father. That would be the problem that I would have with this. And he's saying it in such a dramatic way. I mean, come on. Stephen A showing up, and LeBron is going to say something to you in person. That's not weak. Weak would have been tweeting it out or having somebody from your management company, your agency, reach out to Stephen A.
Was from the legend Dan Patrick. Lastly, from accredited, well-respected journalist Jeff Pearlman.
As a journalist, you are trained, at least traditionally, that you are not the story. I feel like more than any quote-unquote journalist, and I use that term kind of lightly here, Stephen A. Smith has really blurred the line of what it is to be a quote-unquote journalist. I'm sure he would refer to himself as a journalist, but he makes himself the story. And I 1,000,000% guarantee you he loves that he had that confrontation. Stephen A. Smith, I saw him with his whole running for president in 2028 thing. He loves this. He loves this. As a guy who also teaches journalism, you see more and more students who think this is journalism. And they think being in the spotlight and being the star, and ESPN always highlighting his takes on the NBA, not the NBA. ESPN literally showing him walking into arenas before a game. That's become what a lot of people think journalism is. So I guarantee you Stephen A. Smith loved that LeBron James confronted him, because it makes the story not LeBron James, but LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith, and maybe even reversing the names.
I piggyback off of that because that was my feelings as well, as I saw media appearance after media appearance after media appearance after media appearance after media appearance. Dylan. What I saw was Stephen A. really milking this. Really milking it. At some point, don't you just say, like, dude, come on. There's other stuff to talk about. College basketball's ramping up. I mean, spring training is going on. The NBA is in its home stretch. Shea's putting up 50 almost every damn night. Like, NFL free agency is insane. And we're leading with this? And that's all you want to talk about is this? That's why, I, like Perlman, saw through these appearances and the running for president BS, because it is all to stroke his ego. I want to be very clear about this. We are keeping it within the confines of his broadcasting. I respect what he has done and how he has gotten to this point. But as Perlman has said many times in his TikToks, he teaches journalism classes, the classes that I took in undergrad. And what the kids are saying now, I say kids lightly, what the college students are saying now is they want to be journalists like Pat McAfee. That's not journalism. It's a dying breed. What they do is not journalism. And that's why even in previous videos, I've said, for Smith, he calls himself a journalist, but it's like journalism adjacent. It's like entertainment journalism. But I don't even know if he's breaking any stories. Yeah, he could have sources from billionaires to GMs, but it's all for him to be a star. When if you're doing good journalism, you don't try to be the star and make yourself the story, as I was taught when I was in those classrooms. It is to find the truth. And as we have seen many times over, his way of delivering that news at times can be pretty jaded. So when you see someone who is just thirsty to be a celebrity, you kind of look at him sideways. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.